Good morning, everybody. This is dear Mama Sal, and on a very, very wet Thursday morning. For those of you who don't know, Thursday is my Friday, because I don't work on Fridays. So it's always a very nice day for me, because I'm counting down the hours until it's the weekend. And this weekend here in British Columbia is a long weekend. We have what we call Family Day on Monday. So I get Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday off, which is absolutely wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to that, I must say. I had some sad news this morning. A friend of mine wrote and told me that somebody in the family had passed. So that was really a difficult way to start the day, but I'm glad that I heard about it from her, not sort of secondhand much later. So I was thankful for that. But I know it'll be a difficult time for the family, and my thoughts and prayers go out to them. I also heard last night that Leahs got a little bit of a problem going on with her dog, so we wish lots of thoughts and prayers out to Leah and Wayne. Hope that that all resolves itself, and if it doesn't, that you know, there isn't a lot of suffering for the really beautiful looking dog. I don't know why we hadn't had, I'm trying to remember his name. I can see his face and I can't remember his name. It's terrible. Anyway, why we didn't have him on the pets page before, and I must remember to put him on there. I meant to do it last night and I got sidetracked with something. So anyway, I'm very, very sorry to hear about that, obviously. One of the things that I wanted to smile about was the fact that I got a note from a viewer who tells me that she works just, you know, within 5 minutes of where I live, and that was really quite cute. So one of these weekends I'll pop in there and say hello. It's a small world. I think when I look at this grey day, and it is a grey day, this weather is really socked in. It's 7 degrees, so it's warm enough here. It's 7 degrees here. Hang on a second. Just want to make sure this. Thank you. Which would make it 44 degrees translated into American. They've got half the road blocked off here, and I'm not quite sure why. I guess some sort of construction thing is going on. They certainly, they've got like a block's worth of warning before we get there. Seems a bit excessive to me, but what can I say? I got a really difficult email, I think, I'd have to say, from a young person as well. It was an interesting 12 hours of emails. And there was a young person who, at 19, was in that very well-known dilemma between childhood and adulthood. The reason that we call that age group young adults is because at 19, you're no longer a child. But with all due respect, you are not yet a fully functioning adult either. What you're trying to do is to make the transition between the two. And that's not easy to do. And in the case of this young lady, she was busy at university following a career that her parents wanted, not one that she wanted for herself, one that her parents wanted, and was feeling overwhelmed by the fact that she was going in the wrong direction in her life. The good news was, because I immediately reacted to some of what she had written and said, asked her please to get to a doctor and get some help. And she wrote back and said, no, she'd already done all of that. So I thought it would only be fair for me to give her some extra time here, because she was very eloquent in what she had to say about the confusion she was under, and obviously wants to get out of it. And I said to her, you're not the only one of that age group that, I get emails about this regularly. I've even had people come to me privately on this issue. So let's try and think about this. From what I can gather, and I hope I've got this information correct, and if I haven't, just make amends for that. From what I can gather, this young person is at university, is still at home and having all her bills paid so that she can continue her education. And let's start with that factor. I cannot tell you the value of that. Yes, it would be much nicer to be out on your own, earning your living, or would it? You've got stuff coming at you that you don't know yet, but we'll wait to tell you all about that when you get a bit older. But, it does look like the grass is a lot greener. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to follow a career I don't even want? I can remember having a couple of young people come to me with that dilemma. And what I said to them was, hey, if you've got the opportunity to be educated in this area and get a degree in it, I take it, even if you don't like it. Because the most important thing that you can get at this age is an education. And it's easier to study when you don't have to work. And if you've got all your bills being paid at home, then, take full advantage of that. However, what I hear is that she is not balanced in that. And I think that's part of the problem. It was like the call I got, if you remember, from my young friend who was, that river is full today. Not surprising when you look at the rain. But when you look at it, it is the same sort of issue I had with the young man who phoned me about being in overwhelm. Sometimes, he's in his third year of university in a very difficult subject, and it's stressful. And sure, the grass looks a lot sort of greener on the other side, and if I could quit, then life would be easier. Well, actually, no. So I look at it and go, if you are studying in an area that you don't like, then there's part of me that says, is this a discussion you can have with your parents and tell them, look, I'm not really suited for this. I don't want to throw your money away. I thought that I could do it for you because my sense is that this probably is where this is all at. I thought I could do this subject for you, but really what I need is to do a subject for me. It is, I understand you're trying to give me the education so that I can do well and probably look after you in your old age, which is, I think, the case in a lot of cases. It is expected. However, I would like to find a subject to which I am better suited, even if it means losing Leah. And I don't know whether that discussion is possible. And if you feel it isn't, is there an adult in your life, an aunt, an uncle, a friend of the family, is there an adult in your life that actually has some influence with your parents? And if so, maybe you could have the discussion with that person and see if they will come and help you with that discussion. Because quite often it is very uneven discussion to have one child and two parents, because they hold all the control. Especially if this happens to be in an Asian culture where that becomes an even bigger factor. So, but let us presume that you can't get out of doing this, that you need to stay with the program. I believe that the most important thing you can do is to see it in two different ways. Number one, this is what I do to study, and this is how many hours I will study. This is how many hours I will make sure my parents see me studying for. I won't cheat it, I will just do it. But on the other hand, these are the times that I will get up and exercise, or I will go out and pursue a hobby and do something to balance out all that studying. I know that in order to save face and in order to honor the family, you know, a great deal is expected of you. And part of me goes, you know, if necessary, have this discussion with your doctor and have your doctor, you know, actually you're an adult now, but I'm not sure how that works in the Asian culture. But, you know, as I said, maybe a friend or somebody, you know, can just talk to the parents and say, hey, you cannot expect this child to do nothing but study, go to school all day and study, come home and study non-stop. She has to have balance. And so what I'd ask you to concentrate on is, I presume, I don't know, it's probably 4 years of your life. And, you know, that is a small amount of time in the big scheme of things. Unless you happen to be my age, where 4 years of my life, you understand, is quite critical. And when I say quite critical, because I'm running out of years. I don't have 60 years ahead of me. And so I would ask you to think of it in those terms, that, you know, it's 4 years of your life that you will give to this, if you have to, and do as well as you can. Just make sure that you graduate. Do the work that's necessary so that you graduate. And then you have the rest of your life to decide what it is you really want to do. And if you think that's a waste of time, don't think of it that way, because you don't know what life has in store for you. Maybe you're meant to meet the love of your life at university. I don't know. maybe you are going to meet a best friend that you had no ability to meet except at university. I am such a great believer in there's a reason for everything. And so to quit on a path that leads you to something good is your choice. So let's look at the other side of it. Let's say that you actually do decide to not continue with your university. We all know that will obviously really upset the family. And for some people it may actually end up where the family disowns you. They've worked a lifetime to be able to put you through university. Sometimes doing 2 or 3 jobs in some families. So, you know, to suddenly turn around and say, I don't want this in my life, could be seen as a great insult to the family. So let's say that you quit. Now, I know that we all know people that have quit university, and some have done extremely well. Bill Gates, for one. But, but you know, those are very, very few and far between. But if you really don't think that you are academic material, and your previous 5 years will tell you whether you have the ability to be academically inclined, if you've managed to make it through high school and have got good grades, then you are capable of studying and getting through university. But if you choose not to, do not expect that everybody will be happy about that, and you may spend the rest of your life disowned, with no way of getting support financially. And maybe the answer is somewhere in the middle. So this, again, I believe, requires some discussion. If you really don't want to go through university, you need to have this discussion. Or you need to be able to say to yourself, I can do this for 4 years, and then the rest of my life is my choice. I, for one, really didn't want, I mean, I was initially trained as a secretary, and I can assure you I did not want to be trained as a secretary. I wasn't allowed to go to university, so there's part of me that's slightly biased here, because I would have loved to have had that opportunity. But my family decided that they didn't like university. And we're talking a long, long time ago, where they felt that you got to be too radical at university. I mean, it was their dysfunction. It was quite funny. So you understand, I'm a little bit biased here. To have that opportunity would have been wonderful. I would have loved it. But, you know, it's not the be-all and end-all, I guess. It's required. I think the chances of you working for a long time in a job that only pays you minimum wage is far more likely if you don't have university education. That's a reality. However, I also know that a university education doesn't guarantee that you won't be flipping burgers, quite honestly. There have been a lot of disillusioned people who spent a lot of time getting very high qualifications and didn't get the job that they wanted. So decide what it is that you're capable of. Are you capable of sucking it up and doing 4 years of university? If so, I would say the odds are better for you that way. That's one option. The other option is to have a discussion and try and change the area in which you're studying, even if it means that you lose, a year of study because of it. And maybe you need to offer to help pay for the extra year. I don't know. And then the third option is not to do it at all. I can't tell you which to do because it's not my life. I can't tell you what to do because it's not my family. And I can't tell you what to do because really I don't know what the right choice is. It's a very personal thing. And I'm certain there will be viewers that will tell you they quit school because they didn't particularly like it and now they wish they'd stayed. And there will be others that will probably write and say, hey, I stayed, happy I did. There were difficult times along the way, but you just need to suck it up and keep doing what you need to do. Because sometimes these feelings come with overwhelm. So I wish you lots of luck with it. And I am certain, as I said, there are lots of viewers that will relate to this and hopefully be able to pass on some support. It sounds to me like you could do with a support team of people, and if you would like that, we would be only too happy to try and get some people that you can just talk to privately and support you with this decision as you make your decision as to what you need to do. One of the greatest problems about growing up is you go from a life of everybody making decisions for you to learning how to make decisions for yourself. It doesn't have anything to do with age, quite honestly, but a lot of it has to do with your financial ability. And therefore I would caution anybody to be very aware of the cost of living on your own today, of being thrown out of the family, of not having that support system. And because it is extremely expensive. And I left home when I was quite young. And I started working before I was 19. But I believe that throughout my life I had to work much harder than the next person to prove I was worthy of a job. And in a way, I don't believe I would have had to work that hard, if you like, if I'd had all those qualifications backing me up. It's my belief. I could be wrong. I didn't let my lack of education at university level stop me from being highly successful in things that I did. But I certainly believe that probably would have saved me a few years, and I might have been, I don't know. There's part of me that really does believe that I am where I am because of the life that I've lived. and that includes the bad times. So, I'm going to wish you all a very, very pleasant day. I'm sure that if you saw my vlog that was up, the most recent one that went up, I actually have pictures of my crocuses and all the greenery that's coming up through my garden, because the weather is so mild here. All my plants seem to think that it's spring already. And I'm just hoping that we don't have a terrible change in the weather. And that spring turns back into winter, which I have a horrible feeling it might do. In which case those little flowers are going to have a little bit of a problem. And then when the real spring comes, they won't be there anymore. Very sad. All right, everybody. I wish I could make all the decisions for everybody, but I can't. This is dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.